Well, Pope Francis today spoke on the issue of abortion after several Catholic politicians have come out in support of pro-choice legislation. His Holiness reaffirmed that abortion was murder, but warned bishops not to get political. He said that bishops should minister with compassion and tenderness and told them to, quote, be pastors, not politicians. He also told them not to excommunicate pro-choice lawmakers. Well, joining us now to discuss the ongoing debate is Catholic priest, founder of Plating Grace, Father Leo Patalinghug. Well, welcome to the show, Father.
Thank you.
All right, so what is your initial reaction to the Pope's ruling here, or comments, rather?
Well, I'm not in a position to disagree with the Holy Father, but maybe to help provide some pastoral perspective for people, because it's very obvious that in the media they're going to want to use a soundbite to try to divide the faithful flock from the shepherd, who is 100% right. We all know in America that there is a division, or at least a separation, between church and state. However, it's not a divorce. And these two independent institutions have to dialogue with each other for the good of the people. And so as a priest or a church official is not supposed to play politics, a politician is not also supposed to play moral arbitrator, especially when it comes to something as sacred as life and protecting it from an abortion.
So let me ask you this, because based on your comment initially, right? This was a comment that the Pope made on a plane with the media, right? It's not official doctrine. So how do you guys interpret this? Because it wasn't like he was sending it down from the Vatican and saying, thou shalt give communion to everybody. He was saying, this is what I think.
Yes, he's providing a pastoral perspective. It would be wonderful if a bishop could actually speak to a Catholic politician and make sure that their consciences are properly formed. Unfortunately, what we're experiencing is that once a person is elected into public office, they seem to know everything, but they really aren't familiar with the Catholic Church's teaching, especially with regards to the sanctity of human life. Because remember, a government official is supposed to just simply provide protection for our citizens and to provide infrastructure. I'm not quite sure where their formed consciences are saying that a child is now seen as an enemy of the state. An unborn child is somehow going to affect infrastructure. What the Holy Father is trying to tell us to do as shepherds is to make sure that we are teaching the faithful even to our politicians so that they can have a properly formed conscience as well.
So what has been the response from other priests and bishops on these comments, like to Sean's point, since it did not come down as a ruling or as official? Are you going to serve politicians who are openly pro-choice?
Well, unfortunately, as a Catholic priest, I do have some limitations. And one of them is that I can't read souls. So if a politician who I know is publicly pro-abortion comes to me for communion, that is not a place and time for me to have a debate and discussion, especially since I am not in a position to know whether or not that politician has gone to confession for this grievous sin, which it clearly is one. However, what we can do is make sure that prior to a politician receiving communion, that we communicate with their office in advance to make sure that there is no scandal to the faithful, which is exactly what is happening. When a Catholic politician who is 100% not only in support of abortion, but almost seems to celebrate it, it causes scandal to the faithful and confusion to everyone else surrounding the situation and watching it. So we have to be, as the scriptures say, cunning as serpents, but innocent as doves. We need to be better in dialoguing with politicians prior to them receiving communion.
So let me just ask you this before we let you go, Father. Here's the question I have for you. A lot of politicians will say, I'm personally pro-life, but I don't want to instill my values on anybody else, right? Does this hurt your ability to do that? Because you go to pull this politician aside and say, hey, you know, I want to counsel you on this. Right now, they're going to say, hey, listen, Father, listen to what the Pope said. I can do this.
Yeah, they would be completely misinterpreting what the Holy Father says when basically playing not only Pope themselves, but in many ways, politicians love to play God. And I have no trouble reminding them that they are not, and that an unborn child has rights, and we have a responsibility to speak up and protect it.
Amen. Well, Father Patalinghug, I hope that you have some awesome interactions with some of these politicians out there and can change some of their hearts and minds. Thanks for your time here tonight.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.